The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
Wow. What happened today? There was some news today? Or what's going on, Hunley?
Yeah, let me put it this
way. Holy crap.
I had a thumbnail, an intro, everything put together. The lead story of the day was going to be the Epstein files, Pam Bondi, all that was going down. And then that went down. I was like, okay, scrap it all. Obviously, this is the story of the day.
Wow.
We have to lead with that.
Wow.
What an incredible exchange. I've never seen anything like it. Have you?
Well, in my family, I was growing up, it happened every night.
No. I mean,
I'm talking about that on the world stage. No.
Yeah. I mean,
look, it is what it is. My favorite was the reporter. I don't know if you saw the whole thing. There was a reporter who said one of the first questions, he said, why don't you wear a suit? It's just like really blunt. And he said, this is what I wear. He goes, maybe I'll get a suit after the war is over, maybe one like yours or a cheaper one. I don't even know, and somebody had to ask that question. I wish they would ask it of Fetterman too, as long as you're asking about dress codes, I mean, right, Eric?
Yeah, good point. Well, he said, I will change a costume when the war is over.
I will change a costume when the war is over. I mean, so it's a costume he's wearing for the war. It's a war costume.
It kind of is.
I mean, did Mussolini have a war costume? I don't understand. Is that goes with it? Unless you're an active general in the war, I guess you got to come up with a war costume or something.
I guess he is in a role, to be sure. But Dick Dickerson's right. Yes, after this, he got kicked out of the White House.
Yeah, he had to go to Blair House, which is not the White House. He had to pack his bags. I feel sad for Brett Baer, who had a thing scheduled. He was promoting it all day.
It's still on, I thought.
No, dude, he's gone, bro. Thing's done.
The last I read was it was still on schedule.
Okay, I'm going to predict it ain't happening. How about that for an off the ledge prediction?
Well, it would be wise of him to go on there and mea culpa the whole time and say, "Oh, I really meant this. I really meant that."
He issued a statement, Zelensky, saying goodbye to America.
Well, he said thank you. If you're talking about this tweet,
I think the end of the Zelensky regime may be coming quicker than we had imagined. I got the reports I don't know what this is here, but I got the reports last week. Is this a statement or something?
Yeah. Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly.
It's like Thank You, Mass Man, the Lenny Bruce bit. It's a little too late now for Thank You, Mass Man. But he did say thank you would be appropriate, JD Vance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It.
But it's a little late now, Zelensky. I'm sorry for your loss. But, I mean, the people who are bumming out the most appear to be Starmer in England and Macron in France, who literally came over here to pave the road for this appearance by Minnie Mouse to show up and do what he was going to do.
Yeah. Also, did you see the Ukrainian ambassador while that was going on? They showed footage of it, and she's just going, and he's talking, and she's just,
yeah. I mean, to me, it's like every Ukrainian I know, I've ever encountered. He is the same exact Ukrainian who you go to get your car fixed in Hollywood. They're all, and I don't mean this in a negative or positive way. This is their personality, not him. All of them are like this. They're all argumentative. They all step on whatever you're saying. They're all arrogant. They're all, guys who think they're running the earth. I mean, it's just crazy from that neck of the woods, how a certain type of personality has evolved. I don't see it in Polish people. Russians kind of have it. The Ukrainians kind of have it. But man, oh man, did he get hammered today by Trump.
Oh yeah, even Lindsey Graham has flipped.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. This guy put his finger up and all of a sudden switched 180 degrees, and
it's a hurricane.
Yeah, it's a hurricane. I got to get out of here. Hey Mo, hey Larry. Well, here's what I'm hearing, and some intelligence sources. Like I said the other day, the French have taken over the bodyguarding of Zelensky. Mm-hmm. I believe MI6 may put an end to Zelensky and then blame it on Trump. Yeah. That he will be assassinated, and I'm just sticking my neck out here in a wild prediction. He will come to an end very shortly, and they will blame the minions of Trump like they do with Putin, the British. When one of these press guys gets off in Russia, they say that Putin had him taken out. I have a funny feeling MI6, who is desperate to keep this war going, may do the same thing with Zelensky and then blame Trump.
Yeah, we won't go too far on that, especially being on YouTube. But anyway,
no, that's the whole thing. I understand that his goal is to move to France, that has a limited extradition treaty with us, which would protect him from being extradited for war crimes or whatever hell, get the money back crimes, or where did the money go crimes. The French could protect him and not dishonor their extradition treaty with the United States, which has loopholes for military and political things.
Yeah, which is kind of typical of the French.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of
wiggle room, and Zelensky, all he had to do was, it's so funny. I'll tell you this. I was joking this week saying I don't trust Zelensky in terms of Trump's safety, and I was half joking. I was talking to some friends this week, and I said he could come in there and do a Michael Corleone with the Godfather, where he goes into the restaurant with McCluskey and takes out the gun underneath the toilet and comes back and shoots Sterling Hayden in the throat and takes out Zalazo. And we were kidding around about it, and here he comes in and he's arguing, which I said kiddingly he could go into the bathroom, take out a bomb, come back in and blow himself up and Trump under duress because they had his wife. We were just riffing movie themes, stuff like that, things we do out here. And I said he goes into the bathroom, comes back, and takes them both out at the same time, him and Trump, right? Mm-hmm. It came close in terms of arguments, not in terms of explosiveness, but the arguments were explosive. So I was caught off guard, but it's not, except for the violence, the words were violent.
Yes, for sure. By the way, what did you think about Vance's involvement in that? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I told you this, but I had a plan for Vance, and people can comment down below on this. This is another one of my harebrained schemes. I think if Trump bails out after 2 years and retires and turns the reins over to J.D. Vance will then legally be able to serve 10 years. He would be a 2-year president, the second half of Trump's term. He would establish himself as President Vance. He will run as an incumbent in 2028 and assure the victory in 2028. Now, keep in mind, if this does not happen, we're talking about a wide open Republican primary in 2028. So I'd like to get people's opinion on this. Trump could step down after 2 years, and he's going to step down after 4 years anyway. He steps down after 2 years. Vance comes in. We get to pick our own VP, and that could be whoever people want to be the VP. But it would give him a leg up for the 2028 election. And I'd like to know what people think about that idea.
Well, I think that was the plan for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about that. Talked about that. And I think it's not insane for the Republicans to do that now, because he is a lame duck. 2 years, depending on how the House elections go, if he would lose the House, tie the House, pick up a couple of seats in the House. He has to get all his work done in 2 years, as Eric is telling me the other day on the phone. And he's right. He's got a 2-year ticking clock. Okay, so he does the 2 years. He gets everything he can in 2 years, turns it over to Vance, steps down, and then he's still a public figure. He still has a bully pulpit outside of this, but Vance becomes president of the United States.
It's possible. I mean,
okay,
it's
just an idea.
Notice though how much he's letting Vance do.
That's why I'm saying it
too. Like Vance is at all these meetings. He takes Vance with him and has let him speak up. I mean, obviously Trump could have shut Vance down during that, but Trump just sat there. He's letting Vance, have it out.
Yeah. Like I said to you when this first started, I envisioned the 4th year of him trotting Vance out and doing this in year 4. The fact that he's doing it in month 1 is showing to me how important he thinks this is regarding his handing the torch off to Vance, in my humble opinion. So that I extrapolated that out even further into the plan that I just laid out.
Either way, and I do think though he is mentoring Vance, be it for the full 4 years, for 2 years, whatever it is.
Yeah,
he does intend to help Vance become good, because Trump still wants a competition though. That's the hard part. Is I think he kind of has that apprentice side to him as well, though, that he would like to see them pitted against each other, may the strongest person win, things like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, what do you think about the $250 bill?
I missed that one. I know there's a $5 million
House legislation on the floor for a $250 Trump bill with his picture on it.
Okay. I missed that.
I'm just telling you, we're here doing the weird news. That's what we do. So that might have slipped through your cracks because there's so much freaking news that it's hard for us to keep up with it.
It definitely slipped through the cracks on me, and I know about the $5 million gold visa.
Right. So there's 250,000 applicants, according to not official applicants, but 250,000 potential applicants, according to the Department of Commerce. So somebody at home, if you could multiply 250,000 times 5 million, tell me and Eric how much money we can get into that treasury within literally a few months. It's kind of an astounding idea. Other countries have tried it for a lesser amount, so it's not an original idea. But, who wants to go to Studio 54 as opposed to the Blarney Stone down the street? You want to get into Studio 54, so the cover charge may be $20. Where Studio 54 is the analogy. So
no, I get it. I mean, it's an interesting idea, and in a funny way, it acts sort of as a filter.
Yeah,
like the only people who are going to come up with that either are accomplished in business or they have strong ties or whatever, but they quite literally are bringing something with them. If they're not bringing a super skill, like an advanced scientist, doctor, whatever, if they're bringing money, they also are paying
capitalism.
Their way. Yeah.
Capitalists who are coming here not to just sit here on the beach. They're going to come here to build something. That's what Trump was implying, that they will pay taxes and hire people for their own businesses.
I think so. I mean,
in other words, it's not just a cover charge to get in, although some athletes or celebrities might use it for that. I think what Trump was implying was that they will build businesses and pay taxes and hire people.
Most will. By default. That's why I said it's kind of a filter. Who's going to have $5 million to do that? Probably the right mindset person that you want, who can build a business.
I mean, how many Pablo Escobars can they be? By the way, they flew a plane load of these Pablo Escobars in today. I don't know where they got them from. Did you see this? They brought in 28 of the top drug cartel guys in manacles and then landed a private plane with them. I guess they must have gotten turned over to us by the Mexican authorities. This is a crazy late-breaking story.
I wonder if they got caught up in like another trick or something. Remember how we got that guy who was El Chapo's number one, or was El Chapo, when it was like, oh, the plane wasn't landing in Mexico, it was landing in El Paso. Right. Oh, sorry about that.
What do you think about this rumor about Scott Jennings of CNN being picked for Mitch McConnell's seat out of Kentucky now? Did you hear? This is spreading quickly, Eric.
But I thought they were going for Massey, possibly as well. So
Jennings it's McConnell's seat. I mean, that's what Jennings is being
Oh, you mean like McConnell may leave his seat?
He is leaving his seat. He is not ahead of time. He's leaving, this year, and they're thinking that Jennings may replace him or run for the seat is what I mean.
Oh, okay, run for it. Yeah, but I thought Massey was going to be running for it too. So well,
now it's the rumor is Scott Jennings is the golden child.
Could be interesting. He worked for him, worked for him at one point. He worked for Bush at one point. I enjoy watching him on CNN. I don't know how he is as a politician though, because
I don't know.
He could be really slick and talk well and then be awful. But they've got one decent guy with Rand Paul.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to assume that these guys are going to be there the rest of their lives and think like that, because a lot of times they're there the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? They don't go anywhere. There's people there who were so old they literally don't know how to vote anymore.
Yeah, back to McConnell.
It's weird that there is coverage of. I told you, I don't know if I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, when John Dickerson has taken over CBS Evening News with the other guy, and they got orders from upstairs. I don't know if I mentioned this, not to mention Trump. And I thought, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, right? So last week, somebody, it may have been Media something or other, who focused on the media. Forget the name of the sort of. Maybe it was Mediaite. And they timed the amount of the evening news, 5 days, 22 minutes a night. That's, over 100 minutes of news. Total amount of Trump coverage, take a guess. Out of 118 minutes.
3 minutes.
Good call. 5 seconds.
Oh, shit.
I sweat it. 5 seconds.
Well, there it is.
So because of all this success of Trump, they have gone into a prevent defense of not mentioning him at all, not criticizing, not fighting, not amplifying, nothing. This is their new strategy now, is to ignore, benign neglect. And I don't know if it's going to work.
It's not working, because they were talking about Dickerson, and it's been a ratings failure.
Yeah.
Because if you turn on the news and okay, how could you not cover Trump Zelensky today? I mean, seriously.
I don't know. I'm going to find out. I want to see what they do about it. I mean,
it should be interesting, because
fascinating.
I'm saying the public is hearing all this stuff going on, so they're going to tune on the news and they go, well, why aren't they talking about all this stuff I hear about Trump? Well, let me try the other channel.
Oh, it's Trump all the time.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's kind of.
All right, let me ask you this, because I had an idea for a movie. I'm not asking you about the movie. I was actually talking to some friends of mine about a movie where these ex-military guys, it opens up at a funeral of one of their sons who dies of a drug overdose of fentanyl, and they're at the wake, and they're from different branches, but they're all friends, and they're all retired ex-military guys. And they're kicking it. The father's grieving the loss of his teenage son. Another one lost a daughter to fentanyl. And they decide to go down to Mexico as a group, like the Dirty Dozen, and take on the drug cartels. That's the movie. It's like a Dirty Dozen movie. I'm talking to some people about it. So it turns out that Mike Lee from Utah is putting out legislation to bring out, and I don't know if you know about this or anybody in the audience knows about this, letters of marque and reprisal. This is covered in
the pirates.
Yes, the privateers, to go down, engage with the drug cartels, and bring back any booty or bounty that you can secure from the drug cartels. It's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10. And he is putting legislation on the floor of the Senate. This is Mike Lee out of Utah, to authorize letters of marque and reprisal to privateers. And I wanted to ask the audience, and you, what do you make of this?
I think it's interesting. I think Mike Lee, I don't know if he's LDS, but Utah does imply he's familiar with them. Mormons have long been kind of down in Mexico battling it out. So yeah, I wonder if that's an influence on them. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you're going to put a mark and you say they can take whatever they want, but are we going to protect them if they got caught?
No, you have no obligation as a nation.
Okay, so I mean, really,
they're privateers. You get a letter of marque. It's from the Congress. It authorizes you to go in there and be a pirate.
But that's my issue, though, is you're going into another country with a letter of marque, but you're saying, "Oh, I'm not associated." So let me just play it out. Joe Smith, He's a veteran. We give him a letter of marque. He goes into Mexico and they catch him.
Okay.
And now he's arrested. So what is his recourse?
He's on his own. That's the law of the sea.
Okay, so then what's the letter for?
Oh, the letter is to clear us of any legal obligation as a nation. It's not to protect him. It's us.
Okay.
We're giving this guy, a citizen of the United States, a letter to, I think, indemnify us and say this guy is, and this is just my interpretation. People can do what they want. I don't know. This is my interpretation. To be a pirate, an independent operator, and go and take whatever he wants as a pirate on the high seas. And the Gulf of America would be the high seas here in this case. But that's as far as I know. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the part that's it's confusing to me because okay, I get it for the high seas because that is
it doesn't specifically say the sea. I just added that on my own.
No, I know, but it's different because the high seas is literally international waters where as long as they're not attacking us, you're not going to bust
it
up
doesn't say
pirate.
that. It doesn't say that in the statute about the high seas. I just added that in there.
I understand that, but they were it was created for then and in the high seas it would be different. But when you're going to another country, if we identify themselves, the point is why don't they just go do it anyway? They don't need a letter.
Well, that's my movie. That's why I'm bringing back the idea of my film. That's why I said this is kind of interesting because I was just pitching this idea of this new Dirty Dozen where they go down and they wreak havoc. They team up night one in Tijuana to get drunk the first night. And then it's on. They have a battle plan. They bring all their friends. And it's a movie of, like the Dirty Dozen. But this happened yesterday. So I said, holy crap, that adds a new spin to it.
No, okay. I mean,
you could comment down below if you think this would work or you know anything about it or... Because I don't know that much about it. I just recently, yesterday, heard that. I figured we'd bring it up on the show.
Yeah, I wish Barnes was here because he talks about.
Well, we'll talk to Barnes when we meet and go to the meetup. Speaking of that, Barnes, I guess we're going to meet him up April 12th. If you have questions for Barnes, write them down and bring them with you. Smuggle them in your anus. Any way you can get them into Vegas.
Or carry them in a briefcase.
I'll carry them in a briefcase, as Hunley says. Because this is where we're going. We should put all our pictures up there, like Viva on the right, and then me and you in the middle. Is there a photo of all four of us from an event? Maybe we could stick that up somewhere.
Oh, well,
there must be a four shot from one of these things, right?
I don't know. Maybe a couple years ago, but I don't remember because we get all separated and
we get separated into separate groups.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Eiffel Tower. It's not the real Eiffel Tower, but it is the real Trump Tower when you go to the Trump Hotel. That's kind of real. And this restaurant is Frank Sinatra's old restaurant. So it's going to be really mob themed. If you want to dress up and talk about cosplay, I mean, I think about the mob because there is going to be a mobster theme to this event. He came as Elvis one time, though, I think, Bob.
Yeah, last year.
Okay, well, this is the Mob Museum, the Mob, Sinatra, Italian food, birthday bash for Barnes, and maybe we'll have the JFK files by then. I don't know. We can't even get the Epstein files out from this situation.
No.
I mean, this guy, there's a guy named James Dennehy, and James Dennehy, under the radar, remember this name, James Dennehy. By the way, you could buy tickets through the locals or click on that thing.
Well, yeah, there's a QR code right there. They can point their phone at it or americasuntoldstories.com/events. It's in the description.
Right.
Wherever you are, if you want to click it there, that's cool. You use your phone, use that.
You've got the whole month of March to figure out how to get there. I mean, some people are taking the planes, trains, and automobiles. There's the three main things with Steve Martin and John Candy. So you can use one of those three. Whichever the safest is for you, I would recommend taking that. Whatever. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Is there some other way?
Well, definitely not high-speed rail.
Definitely not high-speed rail. Let me tell you something. They're about to pull the plug on this boondoggle, and there are people so happy here to end the madness of this gravy train. And I use the word gravy and train together because that's what it is. It's a train to nowhere, and nobody wanted it, and it just became a cash cow. And Trump and the Department of Transportation, I predict, will pull the plug on it. And Newsom's going to have a meltdown, which is going to be fun to watch. But getting back to this guy, James Dennehy, he's a guy that nobody's heard of. And the reason nobody's heard of him is he's the director of the New York office of the FBI. And this is the most powerful branch of the FBI, the most employees. I know DC is the headquarters, but really the power and the brainiac situation is in the New York office of the FBI. I had a cousin named Bob Solomon, who was one of the directors of the New York office when I was growing up, oddly enough, and came to a holiday dinner. My mother said, whatever you do, don't mention J. Edgar Hoover. And of course, as soon as he came in, I said, what's up with J. Edgar Hoover? And the guy just glared at me. And I said, you got a gun on you? And of course he had a gun. He was like 65 at the time. This is like a cousin of my family. And his name was Bob Solomon. And he was the director of the New York office of the FBI. I think it was like the only law enforcement guy in our family. And I just thought it was fascinating. I had long hair. I'm living in my bedroom smoking weed. Now I got the head of the FBI in my living room. I'm going like, I got to take this opportunity. My mother was having a heart attack. But that's a story for another day. This guy, Dennehy, has vowed to, quote unquote, become part of the resistance.
4 weeks
He's
ago.
vowed to dig in. This is his quote. And it's a battle of our own, quote unquote, the FBI versus the Department of Justice. So this cannot go unresolved, Eric, is where I was going with this. They have drawn a line in the sand. The New York office is now, I don't know if they've got guns and they're hunkered down over there. What is the deal here?
I don't know what's going on there. I did reach out to Al to find out because people were spreading rumors that Dennehy got arrested. And I
didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I thought it was bullshit. So
is it bullshit?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Al made some calls. He hasn't heard anything. I think somebody was spamming X trying to get it to trend, saying that breaking news.
Why do you bother? Why do they even bother? There's so much news. Why do people? I don't understand trolling, and I don't understand fake news.
Well, okay.
I swear to God, those are two things I don't get.
Some of that is to sucker a bunch of right wingers. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
this could be a Democratic operative. Yeah. Well, if you can embarrass a Posobiec or somebody saying, "Look at you spreading that out, you dummy!" Ha ha ha.
All right. I mean, what's embarrassing is him holding up that folder in front of the White House yesterday.
You mean them? There was
a
bunch
them
of
and them and him.
Which him?
Posobiec.
Oh, Posobiec. Okay,
yeah. Specifically, you mentioned
Cernovich and
yeah, you mentioned their name. I'm just repeating it. Okay, I thought that was embarrassing as hell.
Now that was an interesting case. Okay, I watched a video with Cernovich earlier when he was explaining what went down, and it seems plausible. I feel like Pam Bondi screwed them over pretty hard, potentially. According to Cernovich, he went to a meeting. The meeting had nothing to do with Epstein whatsoever.
Right.
It was a meeting about new media and the relationship with the administration. Sounds good. Okay, they're bringing in new media people, expanding it. Well, they didn't have their phone with them, and while they were there, Pam Bondi comes up and hands them all binders with the Epstein stuff and says, "Hey, I'm going to release this. Don't make a big deal out of it, but you're under embargo for 3 hours because you got to put it out, so you can't talk about it for 3 hours." Blah blah blah. And they go ahead and they walk out. And when they walk out, everybody has a camera there, and the full press takes pictures of them, and they're holding these binders.
So you're saying it was an ambush?
It was an ambush, but they're also stupid. So it's going to be both because they were holding up. Yeah.
Okay. So
at once.
Greg Kelly had his own printed out version of it, and he was showing page after page of nothing. Page after page after page of white page, redacted page, nothing on a page, sketches on a page. It was absolutely nothing. So she says it's phase one, and then what happens, Eric?
Well,
she says to Jesse Waters, "I have over 10,000 pages on my desk, and I've seen the horror of this." I'm paraphrasing. "I've seen the horror of the whole thing. I'm going to release the rest of it," and nothing happens. At 8 a.m. in the morning, nothing happens. The question is, was she lying about having it herself on her desk, or was she talking hyperbole of having it on her desk and having seen the files and the horror of the files, or did she just make it up?
Well, I think she's potentially lying just in her letter.
Yeah.
That she wrote a letter to Kash Patel that came out yesterday saying, very importantly, at one point it says, "Yesterday, you were as shocked as I was to find out that the SDNY had thousands of documents. Well, what if she had that conversation with them yesterday? That means she knew it yesterday.
I know.
That she kind of put a lie on herself. She didn't
know.
say thousands of documents with water. She just said it was on her desk.
But she said some volume.
250 victims.
Were right. Involved. I remember the victims, but did she give a number to the amount of pages?
Well, there's multiple numbers because there's 120 pages that was mentioned.
Right.
That came later.
Yeah.
But either way, it is a complete, utter debacle.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's humiliating a lot of people. And by the way, you pointed out Greg Kelly put that up. Yeah. Did you know that a lot of what was redacted has already been released? Unredacted?
I don't even know what it was because I couldn't tell what it was because it was a white page.
Right. Well, I'm just telling you, a lot of it was, like the whole client massage list.
Yeah.
That's been out there.
What did I tell you last week about this thing? What did I tell you was going to come out? I said to you more flight logs.
Yeah.
That's what I said on this show, and that's essentially what it was.
No, it wasn't even more.
Okay, it was flight logs. It was flight logs. It was flight logs. I mean, there's a chick who's in charge of this. This chick who took the box, and she works at the Southern District of New York, and her name is Maureen Comey. Mm-hmm. She's the daughter of a guy who, according to Greg Kelly and others and myself, is about to be indicted, and there'll be a grand jury to take down James Comey, I'm predicting on this show. She is also, that's my prediction. And there's just too much stuff out there on Comey that can easily make the case. There's too many statements. They're in books. The books are hard evidence. He's got 9 books that they gave him as a gift, 9 by a former FBI director, 9. I mean, think about how insane that is. Imagine if J. Edgar Hoover retires and writes 9 books. It's insane. It's money laundering, as Barnes and I have been saying for years. It's a type of money laundering. Anyway, but he's got 9 of them, which indicates the importance of keeping James Comey happy, who, by the way, is a closeted homosexual. The fact that his daughter, Maureen Comey, is in charge of the Diddy file. She's in charge of the Diddy case. Nobody realizes she's still working, Maureen Comey, on the Diddy case. And those files overlap, Eric. There are people involved with Diddy who are involved with Epstein, is the point I was trying to make.
They also have Weiner's.
Laptop. Yeah, Anthony Weiner, right. But the point of the matter is the box of videos, CDs, DVDs that was photographed and shown being taken out of Epstein's building in New York. Maureen Comey is now officially claiming she misplaced them. Okay, that's where we are.
Oops. Oh,
that's where we are, bro. That's where we are. Somebody's got to go to jail. The entire United States is demanding justice in all of these cases, and the anger is just building up and up like a teapot that's going to blow its stack.
I agree. I would like Kash Patel. Supposedly Kash Patel went up there with a secret group or whatever into the building and locked it down. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but that kind of thing needs to actually happen. Hand-picked agents, even if you pulled them from ATF, which, or some sort of maneuver like that.
Well, some of Bongino's friends from Secret Service and ATF and FBI, they should be brought in, guys that you trust who are personal friends.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them have a lot of personal friends who could deal with this in the services, I mean.
Yeah, or one thing, I mean, why not remotely, turn off all the badges?
There's a lot of ways. Something
lock the place down.
I mean, 8 a.m. came and went, and there wasn't even a press release.
No.
I mean, why didn't Bondi put out a press release saying this is taking longer than I thought? I'll talk to you on Monday. I'm having a press. Something. She said nothing. I mean, made it look even worse, Eric. She's the one who came up with the 8 a.m. Eastern time statement.
Oh, I know. Because she was furious. And I told it. Yeah.
She's beginning to look like a Mama Luke.
Well, coincidentally, who was the attorney general in Florida when Epstein was doing all this?
Wait a minute. What are you trying to say, Hunley?
I don't know. I'm just pointing out dots. I like Mike Benz said a good one you will appreciate. He said, I just point out the stars. You draw the constellation.
Oh, it's like our dots in the connection. He's
Yeah.
ripping us off. Now, this being said, there's been this Astroturf movement in red states and red areas to have these people protesting Elon Musk. I don't know if you've been following this. There's a congressman, red congressmen and red senators have been going home to these town hall meetings where there are organized protests by their voters, supporters against Musk. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. What are they so angry about? And it turns out the whole thing is a hoax.
Yeah, they hired a bunch of Dems to go in there and harass him.
But it's part of a group called Indivisible that I've never heard of. Indivisible has an $11.7 million budget from an obscure guy named George Soros. And one of them is worked in the Obama administration. Another one is some other lefty. It's a girl and a guy who run this group called Indivisible. I don't know if it's on Wikipedia or whatever. I don't know what it is, but George Soros wants to kill Joe. Showing John going sounds the alarm. Okay.
What? Oh, the paywalling Daily Mail?
What's that?
They're paywalling Daily Mail now. Okay, great.
I know, but if you Google Indivisible, like the organization, maybe something will come up of Indivisible. If you see anything, I don't know. I've never heard of it, but I was looking. I heard.
Oh,
this
yeah. Indivisible.
It's a real group, right?
Yeah, it's a full-blown website.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Here we go.
Trump and Musk are raiding the Treasury, assessing your personal data, trying to illegally eliminate parts of our government. Fight back. This
is funded by George Soros, and the grassroots Astroturf, phony grassroots Astroturf thing is funded by George Soros. They're not stopping. They're not going to stop. They keep switching gears, and they have different plans in the works, stacked up of what to do, as this thing goes on, I predict. And
so, is this actually George Soros's own money now? He's having to give up because of USAID money that he was using before?
Well, he's got plenty of his own money, Eric. I mean, it's not. It's only $11-12 million. I'm sure that's one check from him. What do you think of the new official language of the United States?
I don't even know where you're getting your headlines today, but go ahead.
Oh, you're slow. You're busy, bro. Executive order signed by Trump this afternoon, making English the official language of the United States of America. He's now also asked every department head in the country if they would like to get rid of all the multilingual documents that they have, all the things with 72 languages.
Nice.
That's all gone. And now the official language of the United States, and I'm just asking your opinion, is English. It's the law now, executive order by Trump.
That's one of those. It's kind of like, and why wasn't this done 80 years ago? 100
you got me. He did it today over breakfast, apparently.
I got to tell Leslie, because she's been screaming for, the whole time I've been with her over 25 years, that English is the official language. This is ridiculous. Why is it?
Well, it is now. It is now, but it's more than that. It's also allows Doge to get rid of billions of documents that are in every other language that the government documents, because it's not just speaking. There's documents in Mandarin, in Greek, in every language known to man. They've duplicated every form in every language known to man. And Trump added that can go now.
No, I think that's fantastic. And it'll also encourage people to have to learn it to assimilate better. I mean, it works on multiple fronts.
So Mel Gibson has come out and he is now viciously attacking Newsom. He's attacking him over the coverage of the fires, and he's attacking him over the high-speed rail. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, I think on this show. The only guy who could save us in this election is a white celebrity who's conservative. And I think Mel Gibson might be positioning himself to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger of the state of California.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Another foreigner to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It would make perfect sense. You got an Australian and a German. No, I mean, that would be cool, obviously, but interesting.
Yeah, look, it says here, following efforts are renewed to recall. The recall's underway. It costs millions of dollars, by the way. These recalls, I just signed the recall thing last night for this one. Yeah, this is the recall. I signed it last night. But it cost tens of millions of dollars to pull this off, by the way.
Can he do it though? I mean, in all fairness, because Schwarzenegger is definitely nowhere near as hardcore, right wing, conservative, whatever you want to call it, as like a Mel Gibson or a James Woods. Can California?
Right. Well, we've tried with Larry Elder, and he was declared the white face of the black face of white supremacy. Larry Elder did not have enough name recognition. The only way to pull this off, in my politically humble opinion, is to have a celebrity do it. And that celebrity, I believe, based on where we are right now and his relationship to Trump, where he is in his career, his age, his politics, there's only one guy for me that I could see who can do this, and that's Mel Gibson. Because like Bonta, there's an attorney general of California's name is Bonta, and he has decided not to run for governor. And the reason he gave is he doesn't want to get bigfooted by Kamala Harris. So a lot of people are not running because they think that she may, and they don't want to waste their entire
suck all the oxygen out.
Right. And Rick Grinnell has famously said if Kamala Harris runs, he will run against her. But I don't think Rick Grinnell could win. There's only one guy or a type of guy who could do this. It could be a Latin superstar too, but I don't know who that is in my mind. But Gibson has been making a lot of noise lately. I got a funny feeling that Gibson's going to go for this.
That'd be cool. By the way, for the chat, before their heads explode,
right?
I did not know that. Apparently, Mel Gibson is an American citizen and Irish.
Yeah.
He's American and Irish.
Yeah.
I was making a joke about the Australian.
That's fine. Yeah. I thought you were joking.
Austrian anyway. And Australian, but whatever. Anyway.
No. I look, he has a lot of friends here, despite everything that people think. He's made a lot of money in this state. He's made a lot of tax dollars. He's made a lot of jobs for people who earned a living off of Mel Gibson's movies. And I'm not even talking about the ones he was in. I'm talking about the ones he produced, the ones he directed, the ones he's written. He's made a lot of people a lot of money. He's got a lot of friends. So it's not completely insane.
Yeah, 100%. Ludovico said Zelensky's a better comedian than me, with the misspelling. Take something away. Thanks.
All right. So I sent you a couple of stories. I just wanted to get these off my chest that slipped through the cracks that were recent since I sent you. Michelle Trachtenberg, a tragic story about Michelle Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I talked to Dr. Drew about her this morning. It's a very strange story. I don't know how to explain this, but she was an alcoholic, hardcore alkie, 39 years of age, should not have gotten the liver. She got the liver because she was a celebrity. It's usually you need a year sober to get the liver because of the fact that they don't want to give somebody a liver who's going to drink on a new liver. And I asked Drew about it, and Drew was like hemming and hawing, but what he was basically saying was she got the liver because she was a celebrity. I think she drank on the liver. She was out the other night, and it's not that insane. Larry Hackman, who was a close friend of mine, got a new liver, and he drank on his liver, and he told me that he thought, this is him, he thought because he had a new liver, he could start over drinking. And of course, it doesn't work like that. And that's what happened to Michelle Trachtenberg. Her mother is refusing an autopsy. But the liver was rejected. And the point I'm trying to make is she never should have gotten the liver to begin with. And most people are not allowed to get a liver in general. And this is from cirrhosis of the liver. If you need a liver transplant, which is the most common situation for liver transplants, you can't just be an alcoholic actively. They won't give you a liver because it's a waste of the donor's liver. Do that. And somehow, I believe, because she was a celebrity, she got the new liver, and now somebody didn't get a liver, and she's dead.
And also, isn't liver often rejected? Like, isn't that one of the tougher organs?
Well, it's rejected if you drink on it. That's for sure.
I mean that too. But like Steve Jobs got another liver. It wasn't from drinking; it was a cancer. But anyway.
We had a guy here come to UCLA. This was must have been 15 years ago. He flew in with his group. He was the head of the Yakuza mob in Japan. And he flew into Santa Monica Airport, went to UCLA, and got a new liver bought it. He literally bought it. It was a corrupt move. The doctors were very sheepish about it. And his was from ink. In other words, he was completely covered in tattoos, Eric, and the ink had destroyed his liver. And he was flown in and went to the head of the line of the liver line, got the new liver, and split back to Tokyo. And they launched an investigation, and everybody was mum. How did it happen? And he bought the liver. He literally bought the liver, and he escaped with the liver, and the doctors got off. And the thing was hush-hush. It was brushed under the rug. And imagine the head of the Yakuza mob got a liver in Santa Monica Hospital, UCLA Medical Center.
Well, I mean, Steve Jobs got his.
Right.
No, I was gonna say, you know how he did it, right? He got himself a residence in like all the states that have the least competition.
So that's at least smart. I mean, at least he didn't use his muscle to get it. I mean, now the Gene Hackman case, we don't have all day to talk about Michelle Trachtenberg, but the Hackman case, what do you make of this? What is your take on the Hackman thing?
I thought it was, weird. Anytime you hear everybody in a house dies, including a pet, it's very, very weird. People pointed out, I think, legitimately, it could be carbon monoxide. It's not uncommon. And earlier we discussed it on the show. And because she was found with pills that were scattered everywhere, that carbon monoxide could give a horrible headache. She could have been going to get a pill to, take care of the headache and then fell over dead. I don't know. There's another theory that she could have had a health crisis and just had a heart attack. Something happened. And then Gene was 95. He wasn't necessarily getting around well. And without her there to care for him, he could have passed after the fact. But I don't know what exactly happened. Obviously, he's a great legendary actor and will be missed.
Yeah, Eric and we were just discussing before the show. They just had a press conference at 5:00 Eastern out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the guy running the press conference was the same guy from the Baldwin case, the same Indian. He looks like an Indian. I think he's Indian, Native American, and completely just a guy with no answers to any questions. He answered absolutely no questions. And I can't believe that I said to Eric kiddingly that celebrities should not be allowed to live in non-celebrity places because they should live in LA and New York. You can't be a celebrity and live in Montana. You can't have a drug overdose and die properly. There's never the toxicology reports you need for celebrity news. And these guys live in these weird places now. So you end up with these boho police forces trying to deal with 1 million people like from TMZ. And then we saw the same thing with the Baldwin case, right, Eric? When it first happened, how Bush League it was. And my new rule is that celebrities should not be allowed to live outside of New York and LA.
Well, and I'm kind of shaking my head, not necessarily agreeing, but then thinking about it, giving it more time. Yeah, maybe all celebrities need to be caged in these cities and away from the rest of us.
So you can have a summer home. You can have another home. But if you're planning to overdose or die or do anything bizarre, murder, it's got to be done in one of the two cities so we can get proper coverage on these things. I'm watching this press conference. I'm going, this is going absolutely nowhere with this Native American sheriff here. I'm just like, I couldn't watch it anymore. I was having Baldwin PTSD flashbacks. Now, that being said, I watched the first episode of the Baldwin reality show, so you didn't have to do it, Hunley, on HBO. And holy crap, was this a train wreck. First of all, let me just set this up. He's got hundreds of kids, and they're all different ages. They're running around this house, this apartment in New York, in downtown New York, which is 5 bedrooms. It's an incredible apartment. But every square inch of the floor is covered with toys and just they're running around like it's romper room. It's completely crazy. And he's there with what's her name? Hilaria
from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, so Hilaria is not talking with a Spanish accent unless she starts talking with a Spanish accent. Now, all of the kids are named after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if people knew that. That's right. That's right, Hunley. And there seems to be about 7 of them. I think she may have had the first one. The other ones, I think she farmed
even the
out.
daughter?
Yes, even the daughter has some name that's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle name. Anyway, so nothing really happens in the episode other than them talking off camera, on camera, separately or together, how much they love each other, how they met each other, how these children are driving them crazy. And I'm going, okay, when is this going to start? And near the end of the episode, they get into like multiple SUVs and they have assigned seats to drive out to the Hamptons to go to his house in the Hamptons, which he's had for like 40 years, this house in East Hampton. And they go there and they've got an outdoor slide and a swimming pool. And now the kids are going crazy out there. And that was the whole show. Nothing happened in the show. There was no setup of next week, see what happens. Will Alec escape the prosecution? And they did show, stuff in Santa Fe, Eric. They didn't ignore, but it was just little news clips of him, going to trial and to set up the episode and the series. But it's not about that. It seems to be about him and the kids. They go for a haircut. That's
how they pitched it. I will say that when I saw the pitch, when they were talking about it, they said, it's about having to cope with all the very kids. And like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. I don't know where this is going. I was kind of like waiting for it to start, and it never really starts, quote unquote. If that makes any film sense.
Well, I think I did better because I enjoyed Alec Baldwin's performance with the Trump impersonator.
Yeah,
much better, and I didn't have to watch the show.
So that was much more fun. But not as fun as a German episodic I watched called Cassandra. Now, Cassandra is a German HBO thing, episodic science fiction thing, where this family comes from Hamburg and moves into a house that's completely in disrepair, but it's a house in the style of the 70s. It's a modern house from the 70s that's been uninhabited since the 70s. Looks like super fancy high-tech design, but it's from the 70s. Okay. They go into the house and there are TVs on the wall in every single room. But keep in mind, no one's been in there since the 70s. So the TVs have weird frames around them, but they're mounted TVs in every single room. And the kid goes down in the basement, and one whole wall is a huge sprawling house with an indoor pool and just unbelievable stuff inside this house. The kid goes down in the basement. One whole wall of the basement is a computer. Entire wall, like a 70s gigantic, Eric, computer. Okay.
Like what? Like a mainframe?
Yes. So he goes over and he pulls a switch and he leaves, just says, all right, whatever this is, because they're exploring the house. There's two kids and two parents exploring the house. And he pulls the switch and you see after he leaves, one little light goes on the computer. And then nobody's been in there since the 70s, right? Okay. On the TV screen, a woman appears on every TV screen, and it's the same woman, and it's Cassandra. And she starts talking to the people in the house, and they go, oh my God, what the hell is this? And she's totally human, not a cartoon, not animated. And all of a sudden, a robot comes around, and it's got a TV box on the top of its body, and she's on the TV as well, on the box head of the robot that moves around. Okay. So the same woman. So every room that you go into, she says, how's it going? What do you want in here? What can I get you? Can I help you with something in here? In the kitchen, she says, let me show you how to chop up those vegetables. So, and they're going, all right, this is really bizarre, right? Mm-hmm. And her name is Cassandra. And it was a high-tech house that was a prototype for the future, Eric. When they built it in 1975, this house was an experimental house of the 70s that would be the future German homes of suburban people. It's in the suburbs. Okay. That's the setup of episode 1. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with the show. You ready? Okay. Just for the hell of it. I just want to just tell you the hell of it and we can move on. Wife is this, mid-30s, late 30s, mid-30s, German woman with black hair, very attractive. And the husband, of course, is Just gonna tell you.
I'm
Okay, no, okay, I got to tell you, the husband looks like he's Egyptian. I'll just put it that way. The husband, they're all
Okay.
speaking German. It's got subtitles. The husband looks Egyptian. They have a teenage boy and a younger daughter who are African American. No explanation. There's no explanation in the show why they have two black children, why he's Egyptian, and why she's a white German. Okay, no explanation. Not only that, she's grieving the loss of her dead lesbian wife, who she puts in a picture on the frame next to her bed. The son, the black teenage son, is a homosexual. He goes to school day one, hooks up with a blonde German, and they start making out. The girl, who's this little black girl, she becomes enamored with Cassandra the robot, and the robot's telling her how to undermine her parents, and a lot of other stuff happens. But the family itself just completely throws you off watching anything for the rest of the episode because you can't get your mind around it that this is a German family.
Well, I don't know. You could have scorecards because it sounds like they didn't miss anything. That they've got the entire diversity.
Everything. Absolutely. They went out of their way, and you're not supposed to even notice it or say anything. You're just supposed to watch this Twilight Zone episode because it's kind of like a Black Mirror episode, right? And it's kind of interesting. I went, okay, that's fascinating. And I go, what is this now? wait, because it's not a bad premise. And it's shot beautiful. It's got money behind it. The cinematography is great. The house is great. And I'm just going like, I just can't stop thinking about this family. I'm like, anyway, I had to bail out. I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, like I said, have a scorecard. That would be the entertaining part of it.
But getting back to Hackman again, because Hackman had a long career, I was talking to David, not David Fry, David, who is the producer for Clint Eastwood, who produced The Unforgiven, close friend of mine, produced all the Clint Eastwood movies. And I saw him the other day, and we were talking about Hackman and working with Hackman on The Unforgiven, which is my favorite Hackman movie. I know everyone likes The French Connection, and everyone. Mine is The Unforgiven. It's just one of the greatest Westerns, one of the greatest, I think David Peoples wrote the script, one of the greatest Westerns ever made. He plays Little Bill. And he had a heart attack. And it's just like before he retired, he had a bunch of heart attacks. And they kept it quiet. And that's why he finally retired. And my friend David, who was the producer for Clint Eastwood, kept trying to get him out of retirement to work. And he didn't want to do it. He was just afraid of his own health. But even on The Unforgiven, they had to work around certain health issues that he had. And that was in 92.
And he lived to 95. That's not too bad, though.
No, I know. And his wife had him on a special diet. They had a restaurant in Santa Fe. They were fanatical about food. They were fanatical about diet. They were fanatical about health because of the heart attacks.
Wow, amazing. And then, yeah.
Well, what is your favorite? I'm asking the audience at home what your favorite Gene Hackman film is, because everybody's got Hoosiers. I mean,
Sure.
You know, The French Connection. He won the Oscar for Superman as Lex Luthor. The French Connection one obviously was a good one. There's I mean, the amount of stuff that he
Godfather.
did.
Wasn't he a Godfather?
No, The Enemy of the State.
No.
Get Shorty. I mean, one of the great comedies, mob comedies. Get Shorty, Crimson Tide, The Firm, Hoosiers. Like I said, one of my favorites that I just watched the other day with Kevin Costner, No Way Out. A great thriller, absolutely great political thriller with a murderer and a senator, where Gene Hackman plays a United States senator. Of course, The French Connection. And he plays the blind man in Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks comedy that people forget. I don't know if you remember that, but there's a movie I wanted to tell you about. Of course, Bonnie and Clyde, where he plays Clyde's brother, Buck Barrow. Really put him on the map with Michael Pollard, an old friend of mine, the character actor Michael Pollard. One of my favorite weird movies that didn't even make any noise was one called Night Moves in 1975. He plays a private eye who's been hired by a wealthy family in Malibu to find their runaway, wayward daughter who keeps running away all the time. And they say, well, we just want you to find our daughter. And the daughter is also around somewhere, and they're trying to find her. And the whole movie is James Woods in it. There's a couple of other people in there, but it was a movie that had a very young girl in it in 1975. And that young girl, I just want to tell you, was Melanie Griffith. And Melanie Griffith, I think, is 15 in the movie. And there are shots, I'm just going to tell you this, I'm not going to get into detail, where she's swimming in the ocean off of a boat in Malibu or Santa Monica without a bathing suit. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And that was back when she met Don Johnson, too. They got hooked up.
No, Melanie and Don Johnson, right? He was a little bit older, but she was underage at the time.
I know.
As she is.
She got hooked up with him when she was underage, if I recall.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's true. So anyway, tip of the hat to Gene Hackman, old Hollywood, old school. He was from San Bernardino. He's from out here. Went to Palisades, Pasadena Playhouse, which was an acting school, and they voted him least likely to succeed. And ex-Marine, apparently not an easy guy to get along with. Let me just put it that way.
No, it was funny hearing Bill Murray was talking about how he was a bit of a nightmare to work with, and I guess tortured Wes Anderson and the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
But Bill Murray said that he kind of understood that watching him, because he said he saw a scene that Gene Hackman did, and there was like 25 takes. And he was saying that Hackman nailed every one of them. The other actor kept screwing up. And when he saw that, he's like, maybe that's why this guy's such a grumpy son of a bitch, is because he's working with all these, amateurs or whatever.
Well, he was anyone who could do drama and comedy. That's really the test, to me personally, of an actor. If you could cross over and do both, that's incredible. In big movies, I mean, talking about studio pictures, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing that he was able to do that. I mean, Superman is kind of a campy movie. Lex Luthor, I mean, gets an Oscar for Lex Luthor. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, and then
he got it for that, but okay.
For Lex Luthor, I think he did. French
I know he got it for The Forgiven and for French Connection, I think.
Look it up. Look it up. Let's see what it says. I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, so he was able to do comedy and drama, which is kind of amazing. Very combative dude, but a perfectionist nonetheless. A lot of these guys are perfectionists.
Yes, he got he did not get it. His Academy Award wins were for Best Actor for The French Connection and Best Supporting Actor in The Unforgiven.
He only has 2. Okay, so The Unforgiven, he gets the Best Supporting Actor. Now, that being said, if you watch The French Connection now, it's sanitized by Amazon or any place you buy it, unless, like I said before, you get the DVD of The French Connection. It is going to be censored by people who think they want you to listen to certain things and not other things in The French Connection. So I strongly recommend you buy the DVD of The French Connection. Otherwise, you're going to get a censored version of The French Connection by people who want to tell you what you can watch and what you can't hear and everything else. So I'll say it again for the 8 millionth time, get the DVD.
Wow. That's years. He was nominated for a BAFTA for Superman.
Maybe that was it.
Anyway, okay.
Anyway,
we got a whole bunch of support.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. I just wanted to address that. And
Dustin,
who knows? Go ahead.
I was going to do some super chats because there are a lot of people want to throw here. Dustin saying Zelensky will be bagging groceries by the end of next month. Yeah, possibly if he's around. Helena Olejnik gave us a $20 super sticker. Thank you. Diffuse 56 gifted 5 America's Untold Stories memberships. Donna T with a $1.99. Thank you. And George Toth with a $2 super sticker, which we appreciate. Donna T wants to know why this meeting was televised. The meeting between Trump and Zelensky was just a straight press conference, and JD Vance was just saying, we feel that diplomacy has to be tried because we have people strong arming Biden and all that. And then Zelensky interrupted and said, I have a question for you. And then said, well, he broke his promises in 2019, blah, blah, blah. And JD Vance is like, wait a minute here. you're here. You need to be more polite in what's going on. So it wasn't a case of they're deliberately having an argument to get it televised. Zelensky started it or brought this up, and Trump said, he let it go. And Vance is kind of saying this is not the appropriate location for this. And Trump said, I think that people should see it. So that's why it happened. It's literally transparency in action. Pew Pew with 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you. Mo Bishop thinks Zelensky might have a cocaine addiction. I've heard that. Dick Dickerson gifted 20 America's Untold Stories memberships. Dickerson's back. So Pew Pew and Dickerson.
All right, I just want to get to this story before it disappears. Remember, I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that they were going to buy up all the lots in Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Mm-hmm. This is what broke last night. They're starting to buy up. Everybody's selling. Nobody's coming back to rebuild, Eric. And this is a really interesting take on this thing. There's a couple of LA-centric stories. The $1 million listings real estate agent Josh Altman said that a staggering 70% of Pacific Palisades residents will never return to rebuild their homes. And I happen to agree with him. I think it's going to be more than 70%. I think that they're now selling their property to anyone who comes up and pays them $1 million, owners of bigger than some 1 to 4 million, depending on the size of your property, which we covered last week. And I don't know. This is what I had predicted when the fires happened. That's why I wanted to put this up. They are now scoffing up all the different people's lots, and they're going to either sit on them or flip them. And this is never going to be redeveloped like a normal redevelopment of an area like this. One of the craziest stories of the week is the firing of the fire chief by Karen Bass. The fire chief is now coming into the city council on Monday, demanding her job back, forcing the city council to vote because the entire fire department is behind her now, demanding that she be reinstated, Eric. The fire chief, the lesbian fire chief. Okay. It's so hard to explain these stories because
but she was the one that was fired and then unfired and then refired.
Originally, right. Okay, so Karen Bass is now denying she even fired her, that someone else did it, which is a separate story. The city council, you need 10 city council votes to apparently it's in the charter. You can get your job back if you can sway 10 city councilmen that you deserve your job back. So there's a union behind her and everything else. Okay. Another lesbian fire chief in San Diego. This one, I just have to cover it. Nobody's covering this. She was killed by her lesbian wife. This is her lesbian wife who killed her on the Ring camera. You could see her stabbing and doing things to her, which I won't get into the graphics of it. The wife, what's that?
It was horrible to read.
I know. No, it's quite vicious. She does this to this woman here on the left, who's the fire chief, another fire chief. Apparently, every fire department has a lesbian fire chief in California. I didn't know this.
Well, she's a captain. Is a captain?
A captain, I guess. Not chief or captain. She's a captain. High-ranking person in the fire department. Okay, she's now fled. Here she is. She's on the run. She's fled to Mexico. There's a FBI's looking for her. She's all points bulletin out for the woman on the right who, okay, I just want to tell you this. She used to not be a lesbian, the one on the right. She was married, had a husband, but unfortunately murdered him as well. So she murdered her ex-husband and was convicted of murder. This might be from the original 2000. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. She stabbed her then husband, James, whatever his name was, his last name, and then married this chief of police, this chief of the fire department, captain of the fire department.
Maybe she changed teams in prison.
She may have changed teams, but she didn't change her MO because she used a blade in the first one and she used a blade in this one. Just a horrible, horrible story of just these crazed people that are running cities. I mean, these are not people just working at an automotive dealership. I mean, These are people at the highest levels of our society doing this stuff.
Oh, that's bad. Highland Hater said she wanted to have another stab at marriage.
Oh, that's a tough line. That's a tough line. Anyway, we'll see what happens with this story. Maybe we'll pick it up if they capture her. But she immediately fled to Mexico, which is not unusual in Southern California. By the way, Sunday night are the Oscars, Eric. We didn't mention the Oscars. The conclave apparently has lost momentum, but may pick up momentum if the Pope passes away tonight or tomorrow. So,
oh, well, there you go.
I was talking to Barnes privately about the betting odds, and I told him about conclave. Right now, it's on hold unless something happens with the Pope. Then it's all bets are off. Okay. And I said, I was trying to explain it to him, and I said, I'm going to tell you two films where this happened, two events that happened before. A film called The China Syndrome happened the same weekend as 3 Mile Island. And the film did gangbusters business because of 3 Mile Island.
Oh, yeah.
If this Pope dies tonight, and I understand they might have taken him off oxygen during the course of this show, I am predicting Conclave will win Best Picture.
Okay. Is it a good movie?
It's a watchable movie. Yeah, it's definitely watchable.
All right. The chat saying Pope is back on the ventilator.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. This Pope may shuffle, then you're going to have to do the puffs of smoke, just like in the movie, which is what the movie's about.
Right. Well, last conclave thing was angels and demons. I think the Dan.
Well, that was it. This was directly about the politics. This movie's about the physical voting for Pope. It's kind of fascinating. To be honest with you, it's kind of an inside look as to what goes on in a conclave. That being said, Honora is the current leader of the Best Picture nominees right now.
Okay. Well, if it's a good movie, then at least a good movie wins it. It's a shame somebody has to die to get it there.
Right. Unfortunately, the ending, if I told you the ending, you would throw up in your own mouth. So I can't tell you the ending. I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm really sorry. I'm not even Catholic, and it was offensive to me. So that being said,
somebody in the chat said that Megyn Kelly hates it because it's attacking Catholics. Or
it's not just Megyn Kelly. I mean, there's been a lot of blowback against the film, but that may inspire the atheist members of the Academy to vote for it anyway.
Oh, I'm sure that'll help it along.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Hebner, the super sticker. Thank you very much. Winston Smith. AIPAC will never allow Thomas Massey. Okay.
I don't know. Is AIPAC the government of the United States? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, if you look at Twitter, you'll see people.
I don't understand how AIPAC runs the United States government. And what's the guy's name who's the head of AIPAC, by the way?
I don't even know. I mean,
no, I'm being facetious, of course, but they run the government, but nobody knows who they are.
Yeah. Well, it rhymes with news. That's what they're saying. Anyway, box fart defendant. They can't talk about Trump because AP's kicked out, so they have no talking points.
That's funny.
Let me see. Sean Brim. The letter of Mark is so you are immune from prosecution from your own country. Nothing.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I know, but that's what I was talking about with the high seas. Why would we prosecute somebody who did something in Mexico anyway? So I'm just saying that the letter of Mark seems to be irrelevant. Whatever.
Oh, I meant to tell you this, by the way. Nate Hackman raided the offices of the mayor of Huntington Park yesterday morning, who had stolen $1.4 million in city funds. And Hackman with police, allegedly, I think Hackman might have had some clues.
No, but I mean, technically.
Yeah, I'm not mentioning him in the guy's name, but he's the mayor of Huntington Park, which is another one of these LA County towns. But all of a sudden, he's become like Elliot Ness. I mean, he's out in the field, Hackman, now.
Well, that's what you're hoping for.
That's what I was hoping for. Hackman out in the field took down this corrupt mayor. And the mayor, these mayors here make like $700,000 a year, but it wasn't good enough for this mayor. Apparently absconded allegedly with millions of dollars of the town's money. Now, that being said, I want to make another prediction on this show. I believe that Gavin Newsom will pardon the Menendez brothers within a few weeks.
Yeah, you mentioned that on Tuesday.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to happen. Hackman passed the baton and one of the Menendez brothers' cousins has met with the Newsom people, and Newsom told the parole board to look into the safety there's a phrase, I forget the phrase of it. It's about the safety of releasing someone into the general community who is going to get
Sirhan.
Again, the phrase I'm looking for is the safety issue of
Right.
releasing anyone into the community by clemency, Eric. So
right.
Apparently that's usually the first start to
right.
getting.
So it wouldn't be a pardon. I didn't think it would be a pardon.
Right. It's clemency. It's clemency. Right. Okay. But that being said, we were discussing here how these guys are in their early 50s and they're in great shape. They're muscle bound. They've been working out for 36 years. And they may have some resentments against some other family members who did not help them in these 36 years, Eric. And they may have some axes to grind. That being said, you're correct. These bulky convicts seem to be of no threat to society, but the 80-something-year-old 5'2" Sirhan, Newsom said that he was a threat to the Society of California.
As a matter of fact, I don't know for sure, but I think that they were not even born when Sirhan.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah, 57 for one of them, for Lyle.
Yeah.
And Eric
two or three
is
years.
54. So
yeah.
there you go. So Sirhan has been locked up their entire lives.
He's a threat to society, Sirhan at 5'2" and 80 years old. But the Menendez brothers, who blew things off people's shoulders, who were their parents, with a thing coming out the other end, they're okay.
Yes. Which actually I am okay if they get commuted. I just think it's ironic that Sirhan can't be. I mean, good God. What?
It's very strange. Very strange.
Sean Lucan donated 10 America's Untold Stories memberships, which we appreciate very much. David March wants to know, hey guys, tired of winning yet? Zelensky was wild. I know a fair bit about letters of marque if you need more information. Okay. I appreciate that. We got a couple of Rumble rants too I want to slide in there because don't get them that often. Freddie65 said, Lindsey Graham on Newsmax, quote, I'm proud of Trump and don't want to work with Zelensky. Trump should not travel to anywhere in Europe now. Too dangerous. And then Freddie65 said, clarification. Graham didn't say anything about Europe. That's my own take. I'll try hard to be clear, but I am a little giddy today.
Almost as giddy as Luigi Mangione, who had to tell his supporters to stop sending him hundreds of nude photos, that he's got so many of them, he has no place to put them.
He's running out of room. Yeah,
he has running out of room in his jail cell. So that's his situation right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible problem to have. Who knows? Maybe he plays for the other team.
Mangione? Who knows? He couldn't play at all because he had the injury. Remember?
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, that's an interesting case. DS Wands said, Heartbreakers is a Gene Hackman, Sigourney Weaver gem.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah. That's interesting. There's a lot of good ones in there.
Well, I mean, he's got a career of decades of just
hundreds of films. It's over 100 films.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think at one point he and Michael Caine and I want to say Christopher Walken, I can't be sure, but they were the workingest actors, like with the most movies under their belt, period. Like they,
what I said yesterday that Michael Caine is the British Gene Hackman.
Yeah, well, they were parallel. Yeah, I forgot when it was, but
I know he's not British, but I think he's British now. He's knighted, right? He's a sir.
Sir
Michael Caine. Yeah.
Well, one cool thing too is I think he's Cockney. If I recall, he's like lower class British, and to make it up to the highest level is kind of a big deal.
We can only ask the Brits. I think he might be Welsh. I'm not sure. I'm no expert on their.
I'm sure they will correct me.
I'm sure they'll correct you if it's true. I thought he was Welsh, but again, I'm still listening to my Tom Jones albums. The somebody did not know the name Engelbert Humperdinck, and I was explaining to someone that this was a real performer named Engelbert Humperdinck who looked like an impersonator of Tom Jones and was trying to copy Tom Jones, but wanted to not have a simplistic name like Tom Jones, so chose the name Engelbert Humperdinck. He is not to be confused with another guy who is a Tom Jones clone named Peter Lemongello. And people out there, if you know these names, please tell me in the chat or in the comment section that I'm not completely insane, because both of those people were like Tom Jones lookalikes and clones in the 70s and 80s.
Holy shit, I got it right. He was born in London, Rotherhithe, London, and known for his distinct Cockney accent. So, Michael Caine, English.
He's not dead, is he? Or
no, he's not dead. He's still doing well, as far as I know. Amdrum 12 said The Firm is a great Hackman film.
Absolutely.
And bass player 2011. What's funny is everything they released so far is public record and unredacted. Exactly. That Epstein
okay. I just wanted. We have to deal with this story about Blue Origin. Do you know about Blue Origin?
Oh, you mean the all-female crew? I figured you'd be on that. With Laura.
I'm not on it. I wish I was on it. Nice way to step on a story, Hunley. But nevertheless, Blue Origin is Bezos's rocket ship to space.
Mm-hmm.
And he's putting his wife on it, which I thought was commendable. He's
putting or smart.
or smart. He's putting Gayle King on it, of all people, which is great. Thing. I voted for that, Gayle King. And he's putting the homewrecker, house stealer, Katy Perry on board. So this is the strangest crew. Obviously, it's all female, but Gayle King, Katy Perry, and Laura Sanchez are going into outer space on Jeff Bezos's rocket ship, Blue Origin. Now, I don't want these stories to fall through the cracks because there's so much news. So I'm desperately holding on to them, and I don't want them to get old. So I'm trying to squeeze them in. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just trying to get these stories out because they're gold. They're absolutely gold, Hunley.
Oh, no, I saw that one, and I'm not at all surprised you brought it up. But
yeah, I mean, holy crap, is that a great story? I don't even know what it means. I'm baffled by this. Where did he get a rocket ship from?
Well,
why are these three women going on this rocket ship?
Well, like I said, it could be strategy. Are you sure it's a round trip? I mean, we don't know.
I don't know what they're going to do aboard the ship. I mean, I once pitched a movie for Goldie Hawn called Private Benjamin in Space, and she plays a congresswoman who's running against a Republican conservative who's treating her like she is a wuss and a pussy. So she says, I'll show you what kind of pussy I am. And she gets involved in the space program, gets launched into space, and docks with a Soviet space station that's up there. And she comes through the portal floating in space, and it's three Soviet guys with long beards who've been up there for 5 years, and they see that she's a woman. The next thing you know, she's naked and duct taped against the wall, and she radios down and says, of course, Houston, we have a problem, which is the opening of the movie.
So it's Private Benjamin in Space?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I pitched it at her company. It was kind of funny.
Okay. Well, here.
You got to work, Hunley. You got to come up with ideas.
Well, okay. Here's my idea. I'm going to go segue of your idea, Blue Origin, Women in Space, and Michael Moore talking about illegals could have stopped an asteroid.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, about Michael Moore. Like, what does he do all day? I mean, he used to live around the corner from me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I see him all the time. And he lived in the same building as Alec Baldwin and then Bromley. And with Kim Basinger, which was across the street from me, like on 83rd between Broadway and Amsterdam. And I saw this fat bastard all the time, dressed like a guy who just fell off the back of a truck. But, I mean, do people watch his movies anymore? I mean, he's got opinions on these things.
I don't even
know. Is he the fat James Garville or what?
I don't know. I was gonna say he looks kind of like a lesbian, like all these guys, Mark Cuban, him. There's something about the glasses and the form
Yeah,
that they all get that
I
weird
agree.
look.
I agree.
But I remember when, I mean, his was it Fahrenheit 9/11? He had the like biggest selling documentary
Yeah.
films of all time. And then
Dude,
I
I
don't know.
remember him at the Oscars with the start of the Persian Gulf War being heckled and booed by the Academy members saying that this is an illegal war. You want to talk about how the zeitgeist has shifted? The
Mhm.
Academy people were booing and heckling him when he came up for that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know the last thing I remember is Sicko, and that's
Yeah,
like a
Sicko was pretty
decade
good.
plus,
Yeah.
ago, and kind of bullshit though. It's like, oh, go to Cuba, the best
But
medical,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he's a talented filmmaker, but that doesn't mean he's truthful.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the Spurlock died because he made
Yeah,
me
he
think
had
of
some health
Spurlock.
problem. Morgan Spurlock. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the supersized me, and apparently, part of the reason he was gaining all the weight is because he was drinking.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. It's been a couple of years though, right? Did he die a year
A
ago
year
or
or two
two?
ago, I don't even know. You know what I've started to do, and tell me if this is a bad form. If
Mhm.
I think something is a year ago, I automatically add a year or I double it because it seems to work out pretty accurately. Like what feels like it was 5 months ago is probably closer to a year, and it
It,
usually
it,
winds
it
up being
couldn't
more
hurt.
like
You're probably right. You're probably right. I went
it's
to
just
my
a
eye
year.
doctor the other day, and I thought I was there in the fall, and he said you haven't been here since May. I went, all right, that's weird. But this guy was so happy. He's a Trump supporter, greatest eye doctor of all time. Every time I see this guy, it's like he doesn't want to look at my eyes. He just wants to talk about Trump and how we're winning so much. And we're in there for an hour just talking about Trump, and his patients were out in the lobby waiting, and he couldn't care less.
Well, you're
Uh,
his one patient who likes Trump.
Right, right. And at the office, and the ladies there who work for him do, and he was like a fighter pilot. So there's photos of him on the walls as a fighter pilot, for the Air Force. And then
Mm.
has a very successful eye business out there.
No, pilots have good eyes.
Good eyes.
Hey, bass player 2011 FI. Oh, I reached and hit the delete button by mistake. He's
What?
talking about the Comey having the records.
Oh, yeah. But these are not deletable things. This is physical boxes of tapes and
Where did you
CDs,
park that truck anyway?
audio tapes. They're physical, and it comes from the cameras of Epstein from his apartment building in New York.
What was it? My friend Gavin sent a picture to me with a pallet with like a noose style rope around it hanging, as saying the Epstein files didn't hang themselves.
Oh, that's funny.
That was pretty good. Dog Boy Patel should have gone to SDNY FBI HQ2 with armed agents and arrested them all. They are weak shills. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Well, we don't
WTF.
know. I mean, you could be right. You got to give it a couple of days at least.
I don't think he's warmed his chair yet.
Yeah, I don't think he's warmed his chair yet. And Bongino, I listened to him on the radio yesterday. He's not there yet.
No,
He's not going for a couple of weeks, Bongino, according to him.
I'm sure they have to, set some things up and whatever else. It makes sense. Al Gonzalez, James Dennehy is a Villanova guy, and the FBI is full of them, and Notre Dame guys.
What?
Many were promoted to top positions under Biden and represent a fifth column to undermine Trump. They must be purged.
What does Villanova and Notre Dame have to do? Is it some Catholic underground movement or something that they sneak in from the
Well, there's
Vatican?
another contingent, though.
Or the
FBI,
Jesuits? Is that what he's saying?
probably, but I was going to say the FBI is also known for hiring a lot of Mormons.
I'll tell you something else. The CIA, with that threat, if they get cut, they're going to release the secret documents to foreign powers. What do you make of that, Eric? Well, they got cut today anyway because the judge said all clear to fire CIA operatives.
Bye bye now. I mean, do it. Go ahead and release a document. They do have laws against treason.
And I said the same thing. There's really nothing you can do, right?
No, I mean, you watch them.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? If they make that threat, the first thing you do is yank every bit of their clearance and strip search them on the way out. it's like if you make
Well,
that
it
threat,
might be electronic the way they're transferring. It might be a thumb drive,
whatever it is,
By the way,
if you
speaking
make
of
that
thumb
threat,
drives, do you see who's sitting in the courtroom for Mangione?
yes,
Chelsea Manning.
yes, yeah.
She has an incredible crush on Mangione. You can't make this up, Eric. I mean,
I know.
you talk about strange bedfellows, quote unquote, and thumb drives.
Yeah, if only they had overlapped. You never know. But anyway, yeah. What was it? She made the comment, or he made it. Whatever. It made the comment. It's like, I'm practicing my rights and blah 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 blah.
Of doing what? Going to the
Oh,
courtroom?
being in the court and whatever. It's like, okay.
Wow. I mean, she was being groomed to run for Congress by the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tried to commit, off of a building in New York. The last time I heard of her was she was put into an institution because of some attempts.
Well, of course, there's no other signs she might have issues. None.
Right, right.
Well, perfectly normal and natural in every other way, YouTube. Correct? All right. Ronald Portillo. Let's not kid ourselves, Mark. Watching these terrible shows / movies is your guilty pleasure.
No, I do it. They see, okay. The reason I am an expert on pop culture is you have to watch everything. You don't know what you don't know. I mean, I can't just cherry pick shit and go, hey, I'm only going to watch great movies. I wouldn't know anything at this point in my life if I just watched the best of the best all the time. That's a gutless coward move. I have to take one for the team, bro. And apparently I've taken a lot for the team lately.
Well, good. You can keep on taking it because you're on your own. John Hyde. To a New Yorker like you, Groubert, a hero is some kind of a weird sandwich.
Well, we call him a hero, and you can comment down below what you call them in your area of the country, because we've done this before. Grinders are up in Rhode Island.
Yeah, submarines.
Submarines are down in Philly. What do they call in New York? We call it a hero. What do they call a hero sandwich where you live? How about that for the chat?
And did hero spin out a euro?
Euro?
GYRO. Is that what?
No.
Derivatives?
No. There's a hero bread. There's a bread called a hero that's this long bread that you would get it on, is my guess. But grinder, I don't know why it's called a grinder.
Hoagie is another big one.
Hoagie's a big one. Put down in the comment section where or what they call it where you live and where you live. Just don't put the name. Put down where you're from, so we can track you down, you sons of bitches, and get you freaking.
All right, Runaway Journey. John
yeah,
Knight.
Another one. Yeah, it's a Grisham one, I think.
Not
only did I know Pollard, let me tell you something. Pollard is one of the great hipsters in Hollywood history. And out here, I didn't know Pollard back east. I only knew Pollard here in Hollywood. For a couple of years, he was the go-to guy when an offbeat adolescent. Absolutely, but that was at the beginning of his career. Later on, Michael J. Pollard. He had stories that were so insane. He dated Janis Joplin. Michael J. Pollard is one of the wildest character actors in Hollywood history.
He dated Janis Joplin.
Among other insane stories, crazy stories of Michael J. Pollard.
Huh. All right, Big Bill of 17 said great show. $17, thank you. Uncommon Valor, Sergeant Willie.
Yeah, that was another one. Didn't he do Bat 21 with Danny Glover, where they're in a chopper over Vietnam? People watched that one. Let me know if you saw that one.
He did the one with Will Smith that I liked, Enemy of the State.
Enemy of the State was a great movie.
It was prescient. Hold on, think about it. It was all about surveillance state, and look where we are. It
was also a reprisal of this famous Francis Ford Coppola movie, The Conversation, where he was playing essentially the same type of guy.
Okay. Pat M said, "Hey guys, I'll see you soon on what would have you call Zelensky's outfit? Working man's jumpsuit, loungewear? They're selling those t-shirts at the start of the war."
I don't know, but that reporter finally asked a normal question. Why didn't you wear a suit like everyone else? I don't know. What are you not allowed to ask him this or something? And he had a smug, stupid answer. And I'm glad that reporter asked the question.
I don't know.
I wish somebody would ask Fetterman the same question.
That'd be funnier with Fetterman. But anyway, John Hyde said Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes was a movie. He's not talking about Heroes.
Yeah, no, wasn't it with Clint Eastwood too?
Telly Savalas.
Okay.
It was a spin-off. It was a knockoff of The Dirty Dozen.
Okay. And Zelensky
he's
is on.
there. Oh.
I told you, I thought it was still going.
Good luck.
Well, it's probably off by now. Who knows? Well, maybe Brett.
How do you like the way they ate the lunch, the staff members?
What do you mean?
In other words, they had a luncheon planned for Zelensky and everyone, and because they kicked him out, the staff got to eat the lunch.
Hey, don't waste good food, damn it.
Right?
I think it's fantastic. Probably more deserving. All right. I don't know if you want to cover this. Tulsi's coming in hot, firing more than 100 Intel employees.
Yeah, some sex chat stuff, right?
Yeah, apparently these chat rooms are awful.
Well, it's their own chat room, though. It's not some outside. It was their internal NSA chat room.
Right. But
it wasn't like they went to like some sex site or something. They were chatting among themselves. It was the topics, from what I understood, it was the topics they were chatting about.
Which is really, it's like, is this what you do at work?
That's what they do at work.
I mean, come on. I think it's pretty appropriate to send them on their way.
You know, what's her name's back? Kathy Griffin. She's got some tour going on, and she.
Oh yeah, you sent me that thing.
Yeah, do you have anything on that?
I had the.
This is interesting. That's an interesting article. The diversity thing is almost collapsing now out in Hollywood. Diversity meaning their actual numbers of diversity. How many female directors? All that different stuff is in free fall now, as people are starting to revert back to the normal way of life.
Good. I mean, I wish it.
Kathy Griffin came out with this thing. She dated Jack Black for a while, and she said that he had really bad hygiene and smelled very bad. And
looking at him,
I know. I said that. I saw him the other day again, and I went, he's always wearing the same outfit. He always looks dirty. And when she said that, I went, she's probably right.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's not one of those that you're like, no way.
No way. This is way.
Exactly.
This is way.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I could sort of see that. Yeah. I mean,
well, she usually gets into a cab, Kathy Griffin, that is, and says, I'm sorry for our president, Donald Trump. And this time she got a Moroccan cab driver who said, Trump, greatest president of all time. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. That was awkward. And she says, she said, I never get that response. And he says, if you did it in my country, they'd cut your tongue out.
Right. He said he knew she was. He said, you're the one with the head.
You're the one who cut off the head. Yeah.
And
Wow.
That's why I'm not playing this, because I don't want to get.
Oh, I see. Right.
Nailed on that. But yeah, no, it was an awkward moment for her. Actually, I thought it was kind of ballsy for her to admit it.
I was ballsy, but she's trying to get some publicity for a new tour or something. She's got something going on.
Makes sense. Okay. Here's another one. We can't actually play the clip, but you want to tell me about these this bicycle gang?
Oh, dude, this is not just one. I mean, this is happening all over LA. They rat pack these bikes, small bikes, and it's teenage kids. And they get into a pack of 30 and they find some guy and they beat him and rob him. And the fact that the LAPD cannot find a group of 30 kids on bikes rolling around LA is insane. It's just, this is repeatedly happening, is why it's making the news. It's just one of these crazy LA centric type stories, with 30 kids on a bike or looting and robbing. Wow. They were hitting 7-Elevens in like a mass number of, just rolling in there and destroying 7-Elevens and riding away on their bikes. But the LAPD is so beaten down. It's so defunded. The guy who runs it, McDonald, looks like a complete alcoholic at this point. I don't even recognize the guy that I knew 10 years ago, who I met 10 years. He doesn't look anything like what he looked like 10 years ago. He just looks like a bloated alcoholic at this point, a beaten man who works for Karen Bass.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, he's a stooge. He's a stooge.
You had this Catherine Herridge article.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. Fired
Oh,
CBS
it's all the
reporter.
files seized by the network.
That's right. That's right. I don't know where this is going,
a lot
but
of files.
Yeah. What do you make of this?
Well, I make of it as being horribly problematic for them seizing work product when you're talking about a reporter.
Yeah.
You've got freedom of the press issues here.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they're trying to squeeze her for her sources, and
yeah, that's a really big problem. Now, she did work for them.
Yeah.
So there is that work product angle.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, they want that product. They want that product.
But whose product technically is it? I think
it's a
legitimate question.
I don't know.
You work for the LA Weekly, right? Now, all of your work with the rehab stuff, if they said, Mark, give me all your files on the rehab, what would you do? I'm curious.
Okay, well, it's interesting because there was a point in time where Esquire or one of these major men's magazines, might have been the Atlantic, but somehow I think it's Esquire, made the writers sign a deal that the magazine owned the movie rights and TV rights of anything that they wrote for that magazine. They got them at the beginning. I never signed anything like that, so it didn't apply to me at the LA Weekly, but it was starting to spread as individual writers would sell movie rights to articles that they wrote or write books or whatever, This thing that happened, I forget if it was Esquire or the Atlantic. I forget which one it was, but they began to put on TV shows as a series of crime shows. I think it's the Atlantic. There's a series of crime shows on HBO from articles that were written in the magazine. And this was specifically done for that purpose, that you wouldn't control the back end of your own articles. And you knew it up front because you had to sign it. They didn't steal it from you. But that was pretty dark. That was pretty dark and low, I thought.
Well, it's just the corporate world creeping into an artistic world because, I mean, if I kind of understand both sides of it. If I'm working for a company, well, let's say I'm a software programmer and I work at Google and I am creating a program.
Right.
While I'm working at Google, they own every single bit of that program.
Yeah.
And then it gets really interesting too, because like they issue me a laptop. Now, if I create that program during my off time, but using their laptop, who owns the program?
See, the problem with the journalism thing is you've got thousands and thousands of notes and phone numbers and contacts that they don't have.
Yeah.
And how are they going to get that?
Right.
How do they get that from you? You just got, I don't know. Somewhere I can't find it. I don't know. That audio tape I sent you was an audio tape of me interviewing Don Harisik from LAPD, and Stephanie Lazarus was there. I didn't give that to the LA Weekly. I mean, that was from my article, but they don't even know I have that tape. You know what I mean?
Right. Now,
and don't know what you have. How do they get your notes is my...
Right. And that's another weird analogy too, though, because I'm guessing you bought your own tape recorder and recorded it in your own tape and all of that. But I think it gets confusing when you're talking about a journalist because you're building relationships with people to do an article and stuff versus a product. Like, again, a programmer at Google is a very clear line. You're building a product or you work at Ford and you're tooling out dies or whatever. With the journalism, it's kind of squishy, kind of like it's intellectual property. Whose is it? I think in the case of the stories, I think that's fair. If they say you publish this story in our paper,
I get
we can take that.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what if the author went and made their own movie off of the report?
Well, that's why they did it, because people were doing that.
Right.
That's why they moved in on authors' movie rights, because the authors, some big name authors, were signing deals with William Morris. By the way, this princess from England,
One from here?
What's that?
The one we were trying to get rid of. That
The Duchess of what is she? The Duchess of Windsor or something? What the hell? What's her title?
Well, she's actually Princess.
She's a princess, right?
Princess Harry. No, she carries his title. She has none of her own technically. I think they gave her a Duchess name. But you're talking about Markle.
We're talking about Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you this. Her Netflix special is so bad that William Morris fired her on Monday as a client. Now, this only happens because an agency does not want to be affiliated with the product that's coming out, which is her Netflix special. So keep that in mind, folks. She's about finished. So she doesn't have an agent now. As I predicted, this thing's starting to fall apart.
So poor Harry's never going to get rid of her.
Her show business dream is starting to crumble. If her marriage crumbles, then she's a chick without a country.
Right. But I'm just saying that. So she's going to cling on to that.
Maybe.
Maybe. She's going to have to.
Yeah, she's going to have to do a tightrope dance to keep trying to keep both of them going. But without William Morris, she's kind of screwed. Now, Kamala Harris, oddly enough, just signed with CAA, the same firm that Joe Biden signed with. Now they're both at CAA.
Oh, together again.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm sure Joe loves it.
They could book the two of them on some tour, some vaudeville circuit post-presidential tour. I'm not sure what they're going to do other than maybe separate book deals or whatever. I mean, CAA is going to make some money off these people.
What would that be? Cackles and Confused?
That's funny.
You know, a little running group. I can imagine Joe Biden hanging out with them. But, oh, man.
They also put out the bat signal, the DNC, the other day to ask for help in the public sphere from Clinton, Obama, or Biden to speak out denouncing Trump. And nobody called them back.
Ooh.
There's no public statement by any of the three. In other words, they have no spokesperson right now. And they apparently, from what I read, contacted Clinton, Obama, and Biden to speak out against Trump's policies. And none of the three will respond to the request.
I think that's very interesting.
I think it's very smart, too, by the three of them.
Oh, no, I know it's smart, but I'm saying that, Obama is going to lead the way. If he's saying that political ties are so bad, you don't say a word right now.
Right, yeah.
Even Carville, he's going on. Now he's saying, just play possum.
Yeah.
Things are going to fall apart.
Well, they're obviously not falling apart. So
they're not, but I will say that Bondi blunder was horrible. That
I agree. I don't understand. I never understood what they expect to do with these files. I don't understand what they expect to do with the JFK files. And this was just indicative of what I was trying to say about the JFK files. If this is their plan to simply give them out to influencers, that's crazy. But that's what they did here in theory. Mm-hmm. They took these influencers and they gave them a binder to go use their influencing skills in conservative media to spread the word. Okay, are you going to copy that again for the JFK files? If that's the game, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
Well,
I didn't see that coming.
That's what Luna's volunteering to be. Give them to me. Give them to me.
Right. I'm saying separate from Luna. Luna had nothing to do with this Filegate thing yesterday with Pam Bondi. This is not Luna's work.
No, but she was very much involved. She was targeting Bondi and saying release him. And then she's like, oh, good. Bondi is going to release him. And then Bondi did it this way. And then Luna is climbing the wall. So the two Florida women here are not happy with each other.
Strange. Very strange.
And Laura Loomer's also very unhappy.
She's not happy either.
Oh, no. Now, Laura Loomer, I don't know if it's integrity or she's pissed that she wasn't one of the people who got the
I don't know. I don't know. Just put them up on the website and they should just quietly put them up on whitehouse.gov and just be done with it. You don't have to do anything.
Yep.
The influencers will go on there and find the salacious stuff, find the outrageous stuff, and magnify it. You don't have to do this.
No.
But you do have to get the files. And that may take armed insurrection to get in there. To get these files from these people.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, these files are important because it's current people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess. Again, I said, what's his name? Holloway. Phil was putting something on Twitter, and I said, I don't understand what people are expecting to find from the Epstein files. I don't know what people have in mind. I thought it was more flight logs. I mean, what are you expecting? Bill Clinton in a sex film? I mean, really, folks. I mean, if that's your expectation, it's a little much.
Well, supposedly he did have blackmail films. I don't know who.
Okay, but is that what you want to watch in your home? I don't know what people's expectations are for them physically. What
a lot
do
of
they
people
want?
just want the exposure of who was actually paying him and working with him and seeing underage women. They're upset about obviously the child trafficking angle and wanting to reveal the people. Like, how much did Bill Gates do with Jeffrey Epstein? How much did Prince Andrew do
Right, but
with
what
Jeffrey
form
Epstein?
is that going to be in? That's what I keep
Well, it
asking
could be
people.
appointment books. I mean, it's not so.
Okay, so
it
Bill
could be,
Gates has an appointment to see him.
well, and fill in the blank. Like they have the massage logs and whatever
Okay.
else. So if they had like appointments and times or whatever, I don't know. Normally they kind of obfuscate that a little bit, or be like client AB at such and such a time, but I don't know. I think that's what they want, though. They just want the people exposed who were using his services.
Well, I think he this is just my in deep state intelligence background thing. I think there are films of people who are famous having sex, and that goes with every intelligence group in the history of the world.
Sure.
Since film was invented, intelligence services in every single country have done this. We went over this with the E. Howard Hunt series. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Well, but that's value in of itself too, because now you know who was compromised. Now you know
but
that
I'm saying
all
that
these people are compromised. So
right, but I'm assuming everyone's compromised anyway. It's just my assumption that because we've been doing this so long, and every country's been doing it. I mean, this pending indictment of James Comey is because he peeled off 2 honeypot women who were FBI agents to infiltrate the Trump campaign. One of them graduated to the CIA, and the other one is working at that New York office. These are the 2 women that Comey ran an off-the-books underground investigation of Trump using 2 smoking hot FBI agents to entrap them into something. That is really the smoking gun on Comey that I've heard of what he may be indicted for. And that would be our own honeypot program once again. I mean, the Russians do it. Every intelligence service has done this going back to Mata Hari, and I believe that's part of the Epstein thing. But I never could understand what people think they're going to physically see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's people do want to know who is in there. And,
okay, well, Dershowitz is in there. Now what do you want to do?
Okay, and who else?
Everybody you've seen in those logs. Okay, now what? That's what I keep saying. Now what?
Right. Well, okay, because if there is more information, like if they caught a flight with a guy, that's one thing.
Right.
I mean, apparently Bobby Kennedy's mother caught a flight with them.
Right. So what do you do now?
And
how do you separate the wheat from the shaft here is what I'm saying.
Well,
unless you release the films.
Did they get a massage? Yes or no? Did they do this? Did they,
all right. So
are there other logs? Are there financial transactions to him?
Okay.
There's a lot of information that could be there.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out. Hopefully. Well, maybe not.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me see. Nana of 3. My favorite Gene Hackman movie was Behind Enemy Lines.
Really? Yeah. That's your favorite one?
I mean, it's a fun movie.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, most people say Hoosiers. It's not my favorite, but most people do say Hoosiers.
Unforgiven's up there too, though.
No, that's my favorite. Unforgiven's a perfect movie.
Yes, and it's like it completed the Western genre in a lot of ways. When it came out, whatever, it was.
I was talking to David about the other day, and they shot it up in Calgary. He shot all the Clint Eastwood Westerns were shot in Calgary, people.
Oh.
Just so you know.
And not in Italy? I thought they were spaghetti.
No, not Italy. I mean, that's crazy. So many people have to go to Italy. They're trying to save money, not spend money, Hunley.
I don't know. George Orwell, I wish Gene Hackman did more comedy as 5 minutes and Young Frankenstein is funny now and funny forever.
Get Shorty. Watch Get Shorty, bro.
What do you think happened with Gene Hackman? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think it's a double suicide or exercide. The situation with the pills, and I think he was old, and he convinced his wife to go with him at the same time. And that's my take on it. The dog. There's 2 dogs that are alive, by the way. One of them's not, which I think may have starved in a cage, and it's in a dog cage in the back. But the other 2 are alive, so it kind of gets rid of the gas theory. The other 2,
one was outside.
The door was open, by the way.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to.
The back door was open.
Yeah, somebody just wrote in the chat. It looked like saying that his pacemaker stopped, but I don't know.
Well, after a while, he was gone dead for so long. It ran out of batteries.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, the carbon monoxide testing, whenever that comes back, then we'll know if that was it or not.
Well, he said in this press conference that the carbon monoxide test proved negative, and then this is what the sheriff said in tonight's press conference. So he ruled out carbon monoxide.
Oh, I thought he was that would take weeks to come back. That he
toxicology.
Right, with carbon monoxide coming from that, because he had to clear the area to make sure they were safe to go in.
The gas company came in, some testing by the gas company that tests for carbon monoxide in a residence, whatever that test, a meter. There's some meter, Eric. I don't know what the meter is, but they came in to test in the air when they went into the premises before they went in.
I saw an earlier press conference or read quotes from it where he said that, but it could have cleared out in the time 2 weeks in the interim. So I don't know if there was something in their blood or whatever, then we'll know. George Orwell update. They're reporting in multiple websites that the Hackman.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We're not do. We don't know.
Yeah. No. I agree with this guy. That's what I've been reading. But the toxicology report will resolve that.
All right, Big Bill 767 said $21 for Bat 21. Gene shot down enemy lines.
Yeah.
Danny is an O2 pilot.
Yeah.
Twin prop working to get him out. Uses golf holes to map his escape. I think that was actually a real story.
Yeah, I think it's somebody's story.
That they had the golfing. Yeah.
I don't think it was a comedy. There was a couple of quips in there, but it was a pretty serious movie.
Yeah, no, I think it's based on a true story of somebody who did use the golf to get out. Or whatever, or to transfer messages. I forget how it went down, but anyway, we are going to carry our comedic act over to locals, which, folks, you can join for free, absolutely free. You can even hit subscribe down below here. That's free, or follow if you're on Rumble. That's free.
It's a lot of free in your life. There's a lot of free stuff.
There is a lot of free stuff, but you never know. While you're there, you could decide, hey, I like this so much, I want to hear the Oswald audio drama, or I want to hear the upcoming LBJ that's being worked on as we speak. And you could support us for a year. It's a very reasonable offer, and we even offer discounts for meetup tickets for our locals members, things like that.
What about The Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone?
What about it?
There was another Hackman. Mississippi Burning was right?
Yeah, he was in that. Quick and the Dead, I also had Russell Crowe.
Oh, that's right. I was supposed to do it. It was considered a bomb, though, right? I mean, it never really made a lot of money.
But I think it was a low budget movie. And
that's big stars. I don't know about that. It's a pretty
it was his first movie.
Who?
And Gene Hackman played in everything. That's what I was saying. There was a time when they talked about Michael Caine, Gene Hackman, and I want to say Walking, but I don't remember. But he was making almost just normal wages because he was playing in every movie out there. Not every movie he did was a blockbuster.
No, but I'm saying that particular movie had a lot of stars in it, and The Quick and the Dead, I think it was like 1995. It was supposed to be a blockbuster, and it flopped. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, I don't know. I know that was I think it was Russell Crowe's first or second movie
In 1995.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a way, you know.
He's really fat now. I mean, he's really bloated.
Yes. Okay. There we go. All right.
But I'm saying Hackman goes all the way back to early TV, which people don't realize. He did live TV and United States Steel Hour in 1959. Eric, Naked City. Remember Naked City? I mean, 1960. You don't?
No.
Okay.
I'm not old like you.
It's not a question of old. I mean, there's still stuff you can watch. I watched movies from the 1930s.
How much TV
how about
do you
Route
watch?
60? How about Route 66?
Where do I watch a 1950s show unless it's a Twilight Zone or something that's so big?
Okay, so you watch the Twilight Zone. He was on a show called The Defenders, a TV series. One of these live things from 1961. DuPont Show of the Week.
But
I didn't know that. I didn't know
show these anywhere, really. I mean, maybe you could.
They're
find
on DVD. You could get them if you tried. You can get them.
Okay.
You don't try hard enough. You can find them.
You're right. You're right.
You'd rather watch regular TV and just call it a night. I understand.
Well, I barely even have time to watch a lot of that. So
yeah,
whatever. Anyway, see everybody at Locals. Come on by where you keep the conversation going.
I just want to tell you this: Amaryllis Fox's stepfather from England is the producer of the Royal Tenenbaums with Gene Hackman.
That's right. And you can learn more on our episode about Amaryllis Fox here on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you at Locals.